Hello, Madam Charges. Good afternoon, my dear children. Welcome back to the session. Today we are going to deal with the part 2 of yesterday's session. Well, I'm Rajalaxmi working as a PGT in English in TSRS&JC Bhurgampad. Let us go into the session. We were dealing with the poetry session. That is, the poem name is A Red Rose, written by Robert Burns. Part 2. In part 2, we are going to deal with the annotations and question and answers. Okay. Before going to today's session, let us revise what we have dealt yesterday. Okay. And here is the poem, Red Red Rose. Let me read it for you once again. It's a kind of recapitulation. Dear children, pay attention while I'm reading. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. I'll love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fade thee will my only love, and fade thee will a while. And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles. Okay. Yeah, let us go into the next slide. Let me ask few questions to test your understanding of the poem. How is the speaker's love described in stanza 1? How means he compared with he compared his love with using two similes, that is with a red rose and that is newly sprung in June, and other thing is with a melodious song, right? As you can see in the first stanza here, my dear children, in the first stanza, he compared his love with a red, red rose that newly bloomed in June, and the other comparison with a melodious song that is sweetly played in tune. The second question, how long will the speaker love his beloved? How long? Forever, he said, forever. His love lasts for forever. The speaker says farewell to the beloved. How long will the speaker be away? So in the last stanza, as you can see here, he said a farewell to his beloved for a while, means for a short span of time, and he assures that he will come again to his beloved, even though he go far away, 10,000 miles away from his beloved, he will come back. That is the assurance he has given to his beloved. And how far away is the speaker's destination? He mentioned in the last stanza, as you can see, a 10,000 mile away, right? So that is the answer for this question. Annotation. Whenever you are going to write an answer for annotations, you have to write in 3 parts to get the full marks in the public examination. That is introduction, or you can write as reference. You can mention it. Reference or introduction, both are same. You can write, that is your choice. So I have written here introduction. And in the introduction part, you have to mention the title of the lesson, whether it is a poem, it is a short story, or it is a essay, and so on and so forth. You have to mention the title and the writer's name without any mistake. For that, you will get 2 marks. Out of 4, you will get 2 marks here in the introduction itself. For any lesson, not only this poem, this particular lesson, this particular poem, whenever you are writing annotation, you have to write title or the lesson name with the writer's name without any mistakes. For that, you will get 2 marks. And remaining, you can write 1 or 2 points about the writer or the speciality of the poem. And most important thing, that you have to write the theme of the lesson. For example, today we are dealing with a poem. The theme of the poem that we have to mention. These 3 lines that you must write in the introduction part. Okay. Let us see the first annotation. That is, oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. This is this couplet is taken from the first stanza itself, that the writer, the speaker, is comparing his love with a red, red rose, right? Okay, see what I have written in the introduction part. Let me read it for you. This couplet is taken from the poem. This is how you have to begin your answer. This couplet or these lines or these 2 lines, like that you have to mention. This couplet means nothing but 2 lines that part of a poem is called couplet. This couplet is taken from the poem A Red Red Rose by Robert Burns, a famous 18th century Scottish poet. It is one of the best lyrics of English poetry. As I told you, is you have to mention. This is one kind of a speciality of the poem that you have to mention. This is the best lyric, right? It is a lyrical ballad that shows the ideal love and romantic passion of the poet towards his beloved. This is the theme of the poem. It blends the eternity of love with mortality of life. It is an address to the speaker's lover to whom he swears eternal love and loyalty. Dear children, if a lesson contains 4 or 5 annotations, all the annotations, the introduction part is same. So if you write minimum 4 to 6 lines or 8 lines of introduction, that is enough for your annotation for any lesson. Okay, the introduction part is same for all the annotations, if you see. And the context here, it will change. For context, what you have to write means these lines, who is the speaker of these lines, who spoke to whom, that you have to mention, or the situation, when did the speaker used and what kind of situation he used these lines, that you have to mention in the context. So see, for example, I have given here, the speaker begins by using a simile to compare his love to a red rose. Here, in this couplet, the speaker is comparing his love with a red rose that newly bloomed in June. So this is the context for this annotation, and the meaning or explanation, whatever you want to write, you can write meaning or explanation. Both are okay for the answer. Okay, let us see the meaning. This is the opening couplet of the poem. This is the opening couplet of the first stanza. As you can see, this couplet is taken from the first stanza of the poem itself. So that is why I mentioned here. A young lover is a speaker of the poem, right? A young lover pours out his heart to his lady love. He claims that his love is as beautiful as tender as a rose. And he adds that his love is as fresh as the rose that bloomed in June. The tenderness of the rose and freshly bloomed rose, he is comparing his beloved's beauty with this rose. And the rose is the universally accepted symbol of love that we all know, right? And its delicacy and the beauty reflect well the quality of love. He wanted to show the quality of his love, and he wanted to show his beloved's beauty. For that reason, he has chosen this red rose. And the similes add to the artistic richness of the poem. As I told you, we use these figures of speech, similes, metaphors, alliterations, and so on and so forth to enrich the language, to add more beauty to our language. We'll go to the next annotation. Oh, my love is like the melody that sweetly played in June. This is the second couplet in the first stanza, if you see. And the introduction part is same, as I told you, for all the annotations. Remember, my dear children, you have to mention the title with the author name without any spelling mistakes, and the theme that you have to write. For that, you will get 2 marks in the exam out of 4 marks. Annotations will carry 4 marks. So see the context here. The speaker begins by using begins these couplet, these lines by using a simile. Again, here, yesterday I told you he used two similes. One is comparing his love with the red rose. The other thing is comparing his love to a sweetly sung melodious song. So the other simile, this is the context here, and the speaker who speak to whom, that we have to mention in the context. Okay. Meaning, let us see the meaning. This couplet portrays the young lover's heart to his beloved. Again, he wants to show to her how intense his love for her. He wanted to show his sincere love, how deeply how deeply and madly, we can say, he is in love with his beloved. For that reason, he wanted to convey his love to his beloved. So he says his love is like a red rose. And then he adds that his love is like a sweetly sung melodious song. The bond between love and roses and the music is strong, we can say it's a romantic combination. We can say the bond between the love, roses, and music. Okay. And then the third annotation, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Gang means go. I told you in Scottish language, right? Go. All the seas go dry. Introduction is saying again, and the context differs. See, my children, what is the context here? Again, the speaker is the young man, the young lover, we can say. The speaker is a young, sincere lover. He wants to assert to his lady love how ardently his love, he loves her. He wanted to show the degree of love he has towards her, towards his beloved. And for that reason, he used this exaggerated kind of thing. To prove his point, he used similes and exaggerations. See, and the meaning, love knows no logic, right? You will understand well at the end of the session. Love knows no logic. In the given couplet, the speaker says that he will continue to love his beloved till all the seas go dry. Will all the seas ever dry up? No, right? So, which means his love will remains forever. That is the thing he wanted to convey to his beloved. He will love her forever. That is the thing. He is not worried about that. About what? Will all the seas go dry? He is not worrying about that. He is worrying about the conveying of his intensity towards his beloved. His only task is to project his soul for her. That is the reason he wanted to show that degree, how much of his love towards his beloved. That is the only task. That is the only intention the young lover has in his mind. There is a reason why he has chosen this exaggeration kind of thing. And the fourth annotation, and fade the wheel, my only love, and fade the wheel a while. A while means for a short span of time, for a short period. Introduction is same, and the context differ, my dear children. See, the speaker affirms again and again. Affirms means nothing but saying again and again how deep his love for her is, means for his beloved is. And in the last stanza, the lover says goodbye to her for a short period, right? That means he will come back again. Explanation of these annotation. These lines are taken from the last stanza. Fade the wheel, which means goodbye to you, The young lover says goodbye to his beloved, though only for a short period. He is on a 1,000-mile journey. He assures her that he will come back to her soon. Again, he will come back to her. He is promising. Assures means he is promising her. Wherever he go, how far a long distance he go, 1,000 miles or 10,000 miles he go, he will come back sure to her. That is the assurance. That is the promise he is giving to his beloved. And here we enter into the another session, that is question and answer. And let us see the first question. How is the feeling of love expressed in a red rose? The feeling of love, how the young speaker expressed his love. Let us see. The poem A Red, Red Rose, written by Robert Burns, a famous 18th century Scottish poet. It is one of the best lyrics of English poetry. It is a lyrical ballad that shows the ideal love and romantic passion of the poet towards his love. It blends the eternity of love with mortality of life. It's the theme. That is the theme of the poem. It is an address to the speaker's lover, to whom he swears eternal love and loyalty. And answer for this question. A Red, Red Rose establishes itself as a true love poem from the title to the last line, if you see. And the speaker is a young lover who repeatedly declares that his love for his beloved is like a red rose and a sweet song. And he adds, he will love her even after all the seas go dry and all the mountains melt or all the sands of life slip by, which won't happen. That means his love will remain forever. He continues to add that he loves her deeply and ardently, sincerely. The rose and music have always represented love well. For that reason, he has titled the poem A Red, Red Rose. Let us see the second question. Why is love compared to a red, red rose? Again, why? Because we already, I have already said yesterday, a red rose symbolizes the love generally, right? For that reason, we'll see. Again, the introduction is same. A Red, Red Rose, written by Robert Burns, famous 18th century Scottish poet. It is one of the best lyrics of English poetry. It is a lyrical ballad. Lyrical ballad means nothing but it is meant to sung, and shows the ideal love and romantic passion of the poet towards his beloved. It blends the eternity of love with mortality of life. It is an address to the speaker's lover, to whom he swears eternal love and loyalty. The rose is a traditional symbol of love. In the poem, the rose symbolizes love between the speaker and his beloved. The poem opens with the speakers comparing his beloved to a red rose, the beauty, the softness, or the freshness of a rose, which blooms in June. He claims that his lady love is so beautiful that he loves her with a deep and strong passion. All he wanted to say is this: he is loving her so deep, and his love is so strong and sincere. That is the reason why love is compared with the red, red rose here in the poem. Let us see the third question. What does the speaker promise in a red, red rose? What was the promise? Yeah, you're right. The young lover makes two promises, if you see, to his beloved. The first one, he will love her until the sea dry up, the rocks melt in the sun, and he is alive. This is the first promise that he made to his beloved. He bids a temporary farewell to her and promises to return to her even if he is supposed to cover a distance of 10,000 miles. His love will remain forever, no matter what happens. That is the thing. That is here the speaker mentioned two promises to his beloved. One is he will love her until the sea dry up and the rocks melt and he is alive. And he had given a small, a while farewell for a while, and he promises her again and again that he will come back to her very soon, no matter what happens. Let us see the fourth question. Describe the speaker's devotion to his beloved as expressed in the last two lines of a Red, Red Rose. Okay, again, the introduction is same. The last two lines describe the devotion of the speaker. The sincerity. Devotion is nothing but sincerity, more than sincerity. The young lover promises to his beloved that he will be back to her soon. He bids a temporary farewell. Temporary means for a very short period, and he bids a temporary farewell to her and promises to return to her even if he is supposed to cover a distance of 10,000 miles. His love will remain forever, no matter what happens. Okay. Let us go to the another session. Yeah, appreciating the poem. Look at the words, children. Love and melody. As as I have already told you yesterday, while when we are dealing with the glossary, right? These are the words written in Old English. Why? Why? Because why the spelling is different, right? Love means Love, right? Here Luve that has written. Why the spelling is different? Why? Because this poem has written in 1764. Means in olden days, Old English. In the form of Old English, it has written. That is the reason why the spelling of these two words is different. Till all the seas gang dry. Is it possible that all the seas will dry up? No, right? If they really dry up, will there be life on the earth? No, obviously no. Will the earth and rocks melt? It is impossible, right? And why does the speaker say so? Why that you have to think. Why the speaker used this thing? I told you exaggeration. Why he has used this exaggeration? That you have to think. Okay. Why is the speaker going away so far? Why? When will be the return journey? How long will a rose stay forth? Contrast the idea here with that in the second and third stanzas. Love knows neither language nor logic. Say people. People generally say that love doesn't have any logic at all, and love doesn't have any particular language at all, right? People say so generally. That we have to agree. Do we see any proof here? Here in the present text, do we see any proof? If yes, you have to write it in a notebook and show it to your concerned teacher. What you have to do is you have to try to recite aloud, read aloud the poem as a song. Do you see any melody? To see the melody in the poem, what you have to do? You have to read aloud this poem as a song to understand the melody of the poem. That is the thing that you have to do. And word study. Yeah, the poem features different spellings of words. For each of the words below, write the normal spelling. What is the first one I will do for you? Luve, that is love. The no correct spelling, not correct. The present day English spelling is Love. The second thing that you have to write and show it to your concerned teacher. The next activity, listening and speaking activity. Dear children, do you remember I have asked you yesterday to listen to the song, this poem in a song form. I asked you to Google it. I hope you did. And here, so a red rose is a ballad. What is a ballad? It is supposed to be sung to a tune. That is called ballad. It was inspired by folk songs of these days. These means here in olden days, 1970s, so on and so forth, right? In olden days. So listen to the poem in the form of a song. I have asked you yesterday already. You have to Google it in the YouTube and you have to listen to the song. Listen to it again and again till you can sing it. You have to try to sing this poem in a song form. It will be more interesting. Try it after the session. And here is the links for the song. Try it after the lesson. If we get a time at the end of the session, I'll try to play the song for you. Okay. Writing activity. Why do you think the speaker of this present poem leaves his love? He gave her a bit farewell, right? A very short farewell. Why? That you have to think. Write a short story that explains why the speaker is leaving his beloved. You have to think why he is loving her so much deeply, right? So much deeply and sincerely. Then why he is leaving his beloved? You have to think the reason. You have to sit with your friends in pairs, discuss what could be the reason, and you have to write based on the reason. You have to make a short story and write it in your notebook and show it to your concerned teacher. This is another assignment that you have to do. 4 to 6 lines is enough. Okay. Thinking, the speaker's love is like a rose, and the lifespan of a rose is very short. Then the speaker says his love will last till the seas go dry. See the comparison, The lifespan of a rose is very short. In the first stanza, he compared his love with a rose, right? And in the second stanza, probably he compared his love with a until it lasts until the seas go dry. Those two are contradictory statements, right? How can it be both ways? That you have to think. And love is a feeling. Logic is related to intellect. It is a clue that I am giving to you. Love is a feeling, right? Love doesn't have any language at all, and it doesn't have a logic at all. So that is the thing that you have to keep it in your mind. And there is no coordination between these two comparisons. In the first stanza, in the first couplet itself, he compared his love with a red rose, and then in the second stanza, he compared his love with a his love will last till the seas go dry, so on and so forth, right? This you have to think. This comparison you have to think and let us know. Word games. Read the last line of the poem. You see 2 numbers. In the last line of the poem, you can see 2 numbers, that is 10 and 1000. Let us see if we can play with the 10. Why not 1000? You can ask me, right? But you already played this game using the word 1000 in the previous session. So let us play with the word 10 here. Look at the 3 letters carefully. Read it backwards like we do in Urdu language, right? Urdu language, we have to write and read from the backwards. So 10, if we read from the backwards, it will become net, right? See, T and 10, if we read from the backwards, N-E-T, net, another word. By reading from the backward, it became another word. So a new tool to catch more words, like there is another word called madam. Madam, if you read from the backwards, again say madam, it will become same. There is no change, right? If the words, when we read from the backwards, there is no change from the backwards and forward, there is no change, the word remains the same, then those kind of words are called as palindromes. We called those words palindromes. When we read a word from the forward and backward, that word remains the same, there is no change. So those kind of words are called as palindromes. Okay. Here I have given few examples for palindromes. Civic, reviver, refer, radar, lever, race car are some of the examples for palindromes. So what I have to do here is our game. By reading backwards, we get new words. So let us catch at least 10 words in our net. So what do you have to do? You have to provide 10 words. When we read from the forward, and when we read it from the same word from the backwards, it has to give a new word, like 10 net, like that. Okay, let us try. 10 more examples I have given here. Wolf, flow, patch, tap, nap, pan, trap, part, pin, nip, pot, top, knot, ton, win, nip, ban, nap, that has repeated, ban, nap, and noil and loyal. Noil is a kind of turmoil. No, turmoil not. It's a kind of fiber, we can say fiber, noil. So you have to try for more. Write in your notebooks at least four. You try 4 more words and write it in your notebook and show it to your teacher. And hope you got What is the meaning of palindrome? When we read a particular word from the forward and backward, it remains the same, like madam. So those kind of words are called as palindromes. Okay. So for extra reading, there is one interesting short story has given for you. Read the short story called "The Nightingale and the Rose." It is written by famous writer Oscar Wilde. See, it is also the story is also about the love. See how love is expressed differently in the story. Here in the present poem, a young lover's love, he compares his love with similes, using similes and alliterations and so on and so forth for his beloved. Those are two humans. But here in the nightingale and the rose, nightingale, it's a bird, and the rose, so how the love between these two things happened, that that is a quite interesting thing that you have to read by yourself and enjoy, reading the story. It's a very interesting story. It will touch your soul. Okay, that you have to do. So I have promised you that if I get a time at the end of the session, I'll play the song for you. And give me a moment, I'll play it for you. I'll try to play it for you. Yeah, that is a song that the link I have given here. Later after after the end of the session, you have to go and listen to the song again and try to sing it, my dear children. Okay. Let us have a quick recapitulation what we dealt today. Yeah, annotation. Remember, children, whenever you are writing annotation, you have to write it in the 3 parts. So the first one is introduction, or you can mention it as reference, and the context and the meaning. These 3 parts you must, these 3 subparts you must mention. And in the introduction part, that you have to write the title of the lesson and the author name without any spelling mistakes and the theme. These are the 3 things that you must keep it in your mind while writing an annotation, right? Okay. And this is how you have to begin. This couplet you can write here because this is a couplet. That is the reason why I have mentioned here. You can write these lines. You can write like this also. These lines are taken from the poem A Red Red Rose, written by Robert Burns. He's a famous 18th century Scottish poet, and it is one of the best lyrics of English poetry. It is a lyrical ballad that shows the ideal love and romantic passion of the poet towards his beloved. It blends the eternity of love with the mortality of life. This is the theme of the particular poem. Eternity of love with mortality of life. It is an address to the speaker's lover, to whom he swears eternal love and loyalty. This poem is about this. And the introduction part is same for all the 4 annotations. Okay. The context will differ from the 4, for the 4 annotations. In the context, what you have to write, you have to keep in mind, who is speaking to whom, when is the situation, when he used these words, who spoke to whom, why he spoke these words. That will become the context of the annotation. And he is here, the writer, he himself is a speaker, and the speaker begins by using similes, right? Begins the poem by using simile. What is the simile? Comparing with the other person, right? He is comparing his love with a red rose that newly bloomed in June. That is the context. And the explanation, this is the opening couplet of the poem. A young lover pours out his heart to his lady love. He shows his all love in his heart towards his beloved. And he claims that his love is as beautiful as a freshly bloomed rose in the June. And also he compares his love with a, this melodious song, right? And he adds that his love is as fresh as the rose and bloomed in June. And the rose is the universally accepted symbol of love. For that reason, he has compared with a red rose. And he titled the poem is also Red Rose. And its delicacy and beauty reflect well the quality of love. And similes add the artistic richness of the poem. I told you yesterday, similes and figures of language will enrich our language and enrich the writing writing poems and kind of thing. That is the reason why many people use this similes, figures of speech, and so on and so forth. And second thing, oh my love is like the melody that sweetly played in tune. He compared his love with a melodious song that is played with a tune. So that is the context here. The annotation is the same. The introduction is the same. And the meaning, this couplet portrays the young lover's heart to his love. Portrays means shows. And he wants to show to her how intense his love for her. And he says his love is like a red rose, and he then adds. The adds means you go and saying like this, that his love is like a sweetly sung melodious song. The bond between the love and the music and the rose is a strong thing. It's a universally accepted romantic thing, we can say. So next, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. The context, the speaker is a young, sincere lover. He wants to assert to his lady love how ardently he loves her. how deeply he loves her, how sincerely he loves her. To prove his point, he uses similes and exaggerations and symbols and so on and so forth. Yesterday we discussed already. Love knows no logic. Generally, people are saying love knows no language, and love doesn't have no language, and love knows no logic. So in the given couplet, the speaker says that he will continue to love his beloved till till all the seas go dry. That means forever. And will all the seas ever dry up? No, right? So he's not worried about the seas when it will dry up, and so on and so forth. But all he wanted to say to his beloved is he will love her forever. So, and his only task is to project his soul for her, to show his love towards his beloved. That is the only task he remembered. And the fourth annotation, and fade the wheel, my only love, and fade the wheel a while. This is the first couplet of last stanza of the poem. The introduction part is same, and the context differs. See the context. The speaker affirms again and again how deep his love for her is, for his beloved is. In the last stanza, the lover says goodbye to her for a short period. And the meaning of these couplet, these lines are taken from the last stanza, fade the wheel, which means goodbye to you. The young lover says goodbye to his beloved, though only for a short period. He is on a 1,000-mile journey, but he promises her that he will come back to her, definitely, sure. Then, question and answer. How is the feeling of the love expressed in the red, red rose? So, how he expressed his feelings? How the speaker is a young lover who repeatedly declares that his love for his beloved is like a red, red rose and a sweet song. And he adds that he will love her even after all the seas go dry and all the mountains melt or all the sands of life slip by, even though he loves her. And he continues to add that he loves her deeply and ardently. And you can write sincerely also here. The rose and music have always represented love well. For that reason, he used this two combination. Why is the love compared to a red, red rose? Again, the introduction is same. The first paragraph is same for all the answers. The rose is a traditional symbol of love. In the poem, in a particular poem, the rose symbolizes the love between the speaker and his beloved. And the poem opens with the speaker comparing his beloved to a red rose which blooms in June. He claims that his lady love is so beautiful that he loves her with a deep and strong passion. What does the speaker promise in a red, red rose in the poem? The introduction part is same again. The young lover makes two promises, dear children, that you have to remember this. The young lover makes two promises. The first one is he will love her until the sea dry up and the rocks melt in the sun and he is alive. This is the first promise that he made. And the second one, when he is giving farewell to her, which means gives a temporary farewell to her. Her means his beloved, and promises to return to her even if he is supposed to cover a distance of 10,000 miles away. He will come back to her. This is the second promise that he has, given to his beloved. His love will remain forever, no matter what happens. Okay. Fourth question, describe the speaker's devotion to his beloved as expressed in the last two lines of a red, red rose. Okay, let me read the introduction for you. The poem, A Red, Red Rose, written by Robert Burns. That you have to remember. The poem, Red, Red Rose, written by Robert Burns. Who is he? He was a very famous 18th century Scottish poet. Why we are calling him Scottish? Why? Because he is from Scotland. And for that reason, we call him Scottish poet. And it is one of the best lyrics of English poetry. It is a lyrical ballad that shows the ideal love and romantic passion of the poet towards his beloved. And it blends the eternity of the love with mortality of life. It is an address to the speaker's lover, to whom he swears eternal love and loyalty. So this is about the introduction of the poem. The introduction is same for all the answers that you have to remember. Once you, this introduction should contain 4 to 6 lines. Whenever you are writing an answer, that you have to keep it in your mind while writing your answer in the final exam. And the last 2 lines describe the devotion of the speaker, the sincerity of the speaker. You can say the young lover promises to his beloved that he will be back to her soon. He bids a temporary farewell to her and promises to return to her, even if he is supposed to cover a distance of 10,000 miles, and he is promising that he will be, come soon, come back to her. His love will remain forever, no matter what happens. And here, these the spelling of these words that you have to write. The first one is already I have told you, LOVE, that you have to write it in the bracket or in your notebook. The other thing that you have to write and show it to your teacher. As part of listening and speaking activity, I have provided you links here. These links that you have to Google, or you can search in YouTube to listen to the song and try to sing this song. Okay. And as a writing activity, you have to sit with your friends, and you have to write the reason for the farewell of the speaker from his beloved. That is the thing. And that's the end of the session. Have a good evening, children. You have to do the homework and show it to your teacher. If you have any doubts, ask your teachers in the WhatsApp group. Hope you enjoyed the poem. Have a good day all. Thank you.